Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam Allah, wa rasulallah. Welcome to another session of our series entitled The Lawful and the Unlawful. Hold on, let me set take these pictures and crap off. Hold on. I thought I did have them off. Somebody turned them back on. Well, I'm turning them right the heck back off now. All right, that is distracting as heck. Okay, I can see in here now. Okay, Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam Allah, wa rasulallah. Welcome to another session of our series entitled The Lawful and the Unlawful. And this is the series whereas we're discussing the lawful and the unlawful from A to Z. You know, everything in our lives. We talked about the food. We know what's lawful and unlawful to eat in regards to food. What about this? What type of meat can we not eat living here in America? What meat is haram for us to eat here in America? Anyone, give me an answer. Every Muslim should know. What is haram for me to eat as meat here in America?
Pork.
Okay, pork. Is that all that's haram for me to eat here in America? That's meat.
Any animal that has died, like already dead, like
whoever that is, I really can't hear you. Get closer up to your mic.
I can think that has died, like an animal that hasn't been trained properly.
An animal that hasn't been what properly?
Drained, like I guess with the blood.
Okay, do you guys agree with her answer? Something about draining blood? Is that part of Islam, guys? Anybody can help her out with that? Do we have to drain the blood of an animal?
No, I think what she's referring to is any animal that still has running blood inside them.
Okay, is that correct? Is that true too? No, that's not that. Islam ain't got nothing to do with none of that crazy stuff. And this is what I'm telling y'all. A lot of Muslims confuse Judaism. Our religion ain't got nothing to do with no blood. We cannot eat blood. We know that. Or drink blood. Ain't no vampirism. But as far as all that stuff about having to drain the blood and purify blood, that is not part of our fiqh regulations. That has nothing to do with us in Islam. What type of meat can we not eat? Okay, Brother Ahmed said we cannot eat roadkill. Good job, Brother Ahmed. We cannot eat animals that are roadkill. Animals that we find on the ground. We don't know how they died. We cannot eat that type of meat. We cannot eat pork. What else? Anything else? Okay, now listen to the question, Layli. My question is, what animals can we not eat the meat of in America? In America, I'm not talking about any place on the world, but because you all live in America. What is haram meat for us to eat in America? Brother Aklim said we cannot eat any meat that we find dead on the road in America. Good job. That is 100% correct. Somebody else said we cannot eat any animal that belongs in the swine category. That is 100% correct. What's another animal that we cannot eat in America?
We cannot eat anything that has tentacles or claws or fangs.
What's a tentacle?
Sorry, not tentacles, but claws and fangs. Talus, big claws like hawk have.
Okay, do y'all agree with her answer? She said we cannot eat any animal in America that has fangs or talons. The word is talon. Talons or fangs. Y'all agree with her answer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's 100% correct. Any other animals we cannot eat? here in America. We dealing with home. We ain't thinking about overseas. That's it.
Animals that animals that have been strangled to death or beaten to death.
Okay, living in America, do you know anything about that stuff? That's why I'm telling y'all, we using America as an example. You live in America. I don't want y'all giving me answers that don't apply to here. Okay, just America. This is how y'all make the religion hard on yourselves. You live in the United States of America. You are not in Somalia. You are not in the jungle. You are not in the Amazon. You are not in China. You are not in India. You are in Oze Dazuni. So keep your answers based on America. Mina, does that apply to America? You live in America, Mina. This is how y'all get messed up. Y'all think too far out the box. Why am I saying America, guys? Can anybody explain why I'm not accepting a lot of y'all's answers? Why is it I'm not accepting Laylee's answer? Why is it I'm not accepting Mina's answer? Can anybody tell me why I'm saying X on all of their answers? And I'm stressing America, coming to America. Can anybody give them the wisdom why I'm doing this? What's important about me emphasizing coming to America? Can anybody answer that? It's a question of fiqh, understanding. Why am I not accepting Mina's answer? Mina said any meat that has been slaughtered. Does that apply to America? Why come I'm not accepting her answer? I asked about America. I didn't ask about India. I didn't ask about China. I didn't ask about Vietnam. You live in the United States of America, of Fahuda Republic, blah, 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 whatever the Kafirs say. Can somebody tell me why I'm emphasizing America and not accepting their answers?
We emphasize America because it's a Christian and Jewish states, and we eat food from the people of the book.
Thank you, Latifah. Wake up, because these people can't think well. I didn't expect this to be no 2-hour lecture quiz. They should know this. Okay, so since this America is a Judeo-Christian country, write it down, Pamela. America is a Christian Jewish society. So don't give me no answers for China. Don't give me no answers for India. Don't give me no answers for Korea, for Vietnam, because y'all ain't never seen those countries and you probably never will. So I want answers about America. We got people that just converted to Islam. They are Muslims in America. They ain't got no desire to travel to India. So answer the question for them. What meat is unlawful for us to eat in America? Brother Acklam said any dead animals that you find on the road. You might be driving down the freeway and see a deer laying dead in the road. You cannot get out your car and take that meat home, that venison home. Okay? Pork. When you go to the grocery store, you stay away and pork byproduct or any pork byproducts. You have to read the label here in America. Everybody's supposed to be literate in America. Okay? Read the label. If there's no pork byproducts, you're good to go. What else can we not eat that's meat in America? Any other questions, answers that relate to my question? Go ahead. Anybody else?
So, would animals that have been gored to death by another animal be in the same category as a roadkill?
Would they be what?
Is that like in the same category as a roadkill?
What type of animal was it? I couldn't hear you.
Animals that have been like gored to death.
Okay, okay, we cannot eat meat that have from animals that have been gored to death. Explain to them what gored to death means. Break it down in plain, grassroots Kentucky English.
Like an animal that
give them an example of the animal.
Yeah, it's like an animal that
give them an example of an animal. Name the name of an animal. Don't say an animal, because they might think a cockroach is an animal. Use the name of an animal.
Okay. So, for example, if there was like a deer or something, and then let's say like a lion came behind it and got it.
What's wrong with his answer? Ain't no lions in America. You ain't in Somalia, dude. Can somebody answer the question about gored? What is a gored animal? Give us an example of a gored animal. Go ahead, Sabrine.
Like an American animal that have horns?
I mean, can you, don't ask me the question. Answer it. Give me an example. Answer the question and you, okay. I want y'all to answer the question the way I would.
An animal that okay, not animal. Two deers fighting in a battle with each other, and it gores the other one.
That's what I'm saying. Just be descriptive, because people don't know what gore mean. Who uses that language? If you see two deer fighting, or like Brother Acklam said, two sheep, you got two billy goats. We're Americans. That's what we relate to. Deer, goats, sheep, two cows. They fighting. Say you sitting there watching two cows go at it, two bulls go at it, and they kill each other. They fight with their horns. So they're goring. Goring is to use your horns to kill each other. So you sitting there watching the two bulls fight. Then when they done, you say, okay, let's go cut the meat up. Johnny, get the saw. We cannot eat that. We sat there and watch these two animals kill each other with their horns. So we cannot eat that meat. Thank you. This is how you answer questions, guys. You have to break it down, because most of y'all don't know what these words mean. And these are English words. Okay, what's another example of meat that we cannot eat here in America?
We also cannot eat animals that have fangs, such as snake.
See how she answered that intelligently? We cannot eat any animal here in America that has fangs, such as a snake, such as a crocodile. I think crocodiles have fangs too. And I heard they have crocodiles in Florida. We cannot eat a crocodile, whichever one it is. I confuse them. Okay, good job. What's another example of animals that we cannot eat? Also, we said animals that have talons and animals that have claws, like cats. Wolves. Wolves have fangs. Wolves have claws. We cannot eat a dog. Dogs have fangs. Dogs have claws. We cannot eat eagles. Eagles have talons. We cannot eat talons. Okay, what's another animal? Any other ones? Did y'all name them all? I asked one question that should have got, all of this should have been in that one answer. But y'all make me have to take y'all there. Go
also,
ahead.
We can't eat animals in like ponds.
Exactly. You know, we can eat anything that comes from the sea, but we cannot eat any animal that's in a stagnant place, a pond. Good job, Norto. Okay, the animals that y'all listing on the screen, do they fall in the category that we mentioned? What category that we mentioned do bears fall in, guys? That's why you have to learn the category. The categories tell you what animals. Bears have claws and bears have fangs.
It falls into bears.
Yeah, bears have claws and fangs. We already know that. Rats, we can't eat them either. Why come we can't eat a rat? Because they are considered pesticides. Okay, plus they have them nasty fangs and stuff too. Okay, so other than that, the rest of the meat in America is what? The rest of the meat is what? It's lawful. Exactly. So let's talk about it. I live here in Cleveland, Ohio. We have one of the largest Arab communities in America. Also one of the largest Orthodox Jewish communities in America. And also one of the largest Amish communities here in America. So up the street from me, Giant Eagle. That's the grocery store I like to shop at. They got kosher meat, which is killed by the Jews, the Orthodox Jews. They have Amish meat, which is killed by the Christians. And they have a Muslim meat that has been slaughtered by the Muslims. And this is for real. When you come to Cleveland, we got it that way. You know, pick your all sitting there. Pick your choice. Which meat? I'm a Muslim. Which meat can I buy? I have kosher meat, Christian meat, and Muslim killed meat, all sitting side by side, you know, next to each other. What meat can I choose? Who can answer that question? When there's somebody besides Norto, he too. I don't want to be nobody to answer it already. Get these other knuckleheads to answer.
You can eat all of them. The Muslims already been blessed with the words. You just say Bismillah and eat all the rest of them.
Okay, you got any evidence too?
The prophet say Bismillah and eat.
Okay, any other evidence? Anybody else?
I was just going to add, Allah said that lawful for you is the meat of the Jews and Christian, and lawful for them is our meat too. Exactly.
That's the Dalil. Remember that phrase, though. That's the Dalil. So if you come to Cleveland, Ohio, where I live, where we got all these ethnic people and all these the meats right by, that's why I like to go shopping. And you know what I choose? I'm sorry, I choose kosher. That's my preference. It's lawful, good and clean. And I'm talking real clean. These Jews, Orthodox Jews, they clean their meat like nobody else because in their fickle regulations, they're the ones that have to drain the blood, Jean-Louis. We don't have to drain the blood, but that's a fickle regulation for Jews. That's why their meat is so clean that doesn't have any blood in it. Okay, because that's one of their regulations. Okay. And I just like their meat. It's tender, it's fresh, and it just cooks up better. I don't know what it is that they do, but their meat is the best. But when it comes to chicken and poultry, I'm choosing the Amish. I don't know what the Amish people do. You know, the Amish people, their chicken is the best. So if I want to cook chicken, which is very rare, I don't eat chicken much, I'll pick the Amish chicken. But for any red meat, I'm going with kosher. I'll skip right past the Muslim meat and go right to that Orthodox Jew. And they make the best hot dogs. I'm sorry. If I want some hot dogs, forget about that Muslim stuff. Forget about that Amish stuff. I'm going straight to Hebrew National. Hebrew National is right here in Ohio, in Cleveland. And what's the other one? We got the other one too. They both here. Best, and don't ask me about no corned beef. I'm sorry, can't nobody do corned beef like the Jews. I'm going straight over there getting me. In fact, I just had a sandwich, roast beef. That's right, corned beef sandwiches coming from those Jews. All of it is lawful. This is America, and Allah says lawful for you is the food of the people of the book and their women. You people ain't got no problem with them marrying them Kafir women, but y'all got a problem with the meat. I don't understand that. The meat is safer than the women. I don't understand that. Okay, but Allah makes the laws, so you can choose any of this in America. Now it's different. What would I do? What meat is lawful for me to eat if I was living in China? What meat is lawful for me to eat if I was living in China?
Seafood, like fish.
Why? Why come I can't eat meat? Why come I can't eat meat? Seafood's not considered meat, but explain your answer. Go ahead, Sharmila, explain it. Just you give the answers, give the explanation.
No, it was A1. I'm looking for the words. What is no? I'm looking for the word.
No, ever since you had this baby, what's wrong with your head?
I don't know. My brain is like out lately. I can't think.
Is the baby growing too?
Yeah, she is. If she doesn't sleep at night.
Y'all spoiling her too. Since there's such an age difference between the oldest and her, she's being spoiled by you and your husband, I'm pretty sure, right?
It's just 7 years apart. That's it.
Oh, I forgot you got the other one too. Okay, I see. I'm comparing her to the 18-year-old.
Oh, yeah, she's 16. Yeah, no.
The 7-year-old probably helping you with her.
Not really.
Is he jealous? Going through that jealousy?
Oh, no.
Okay, good. You got that under control.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, help him out, Sharmila. Help A Wild. You know, she got the baby. You know, does that to us. Why is it? What was my question? I done forgot the question.
Why can we eat the meat from China?
Yeah. Well, yeah. What meat? Yeah. Why come we can't eat the meat from China, but we can eat just the fish? She gave the correct answer. If you guys lived in China, what meat could you eat? Unless you go to a Muslim-owned meat store where they actually kill the animal themselves. The only thing you can eat in China is the seafood and vegetables. Why? The question is why? Why, Sharmila?
Because
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that. Okay.
Give me the answer.
They're a Buddhist country.
Yes.
Exactly, because they're not a Muslim, they're not a Judeo-Christian country. They're not a people of the book. These people are pagans. Pagans. They pray, they kill in the name of something other than Allah. Okay, so exactly, if you went to China, Vietnam, any of those Asian countries like that, even Korea is not no Christian, Jewish country either. When y'all go to that part of the world, you better take your own meat or make sure that this is when you choose to go on a seafood diet, because you can't eat none of their meat unless it's a store owned by Muslims, and those Muslims got their own farm and they go out and kill the meat themselves. Exactly. They're pagans. That's where Allah forbids us from eating anything that has a name of something other than Allah on it. What about this, guys? When the Amish people slaughter, they don't mention no name at all. They just kill their chickens. Is that lawful? When the Amish people slaughter their chickens, they just put it and just kill it and keep it moving. They don't mention no name. Is that lawful for us to eat? They don't mention anything. They just kill. Is that lawful? Why or why not? Why?
I would say yeah, because they didn't mention anything. It would have been unlawful if they mentioned something other than Allah.
Exactly, because Allah doesn't say, in a good job, Murad. Allah does not tell us in the Quran that the people, that the Jew or the Christian has to mention anything. That's a thicker regulation for us. We as Muslims, we have to mention the name of Allah when we slaughter. That's a thicker regulation for us. That is not a thicker regulation that Allah put on us for the Jews and Christians' food. All they have to do, Allah says, all they have to do is be people of the book. Does everybody understand that? Long as they are a people of the book, we can eat. They ain't got to mention nothing. You say Bismillah, like Samina Fresno said, you say Bismillah and eat it. That's where that hadith comes in from. Okay, so mashallah, those are the things that we talked about previously, a couple of months ago, when we did the lawful and the unlawful on food. And I want y'all to remember that stuff. So you live in America, you can go and eat any of the meat here, as long as it's not pork or roadkill or a meat that from an animal that has fangs or talons or claws. Okay, you're good to go. You ain't got to worry about people mentioning the name of Allah, because this is not a pagan country. America is not a pagan country. It's a Judeo-Christian one. Okay, good job. So today, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a brief quiz, because yesterday we talked about, I didn't plan on spending all that time on the meat. I thought y'all to answer that question and we'd have went on, but y'all took it into a quiz. So now I'm going to give you part two. Part two. Yesterday we spoke about the lawful and the unlawful in regards to having a dog. Let me ask you guys a couple of questions here. Okay, and I hope that you guys remember these answers, because I get emails all the time from the kids about this stuff. Okay, first question. Under what conditions are we allowed to have a dog in your house? Y'all understand the question? You're going to answer it the way, listen to the question and answer the question. Don't answer some other question. The question is, under what conditions are we as Muslims allowed to have a dog in our home?
If you can't see and you have to have a seeing eye dog, I started to say no condition. Then I thought about I might be blind and need the dog to help me.
Pretty smart. Fresno's on the ball today. She must have had some sleep. Or either that cat checked her today. He said that she threw that garbage out the house on top of his head. You know, you better be careful over there, Fresno. That cat said that you took your garbage out the other day. And instead of you putting it inside the can, you put it on top of him because you didn't even see he was there.
I seen him. He didn't have, I'm tired of him in my backyard, so I did it on purpose.
Mr. Cat gonna have a problem with that next week. I know I'm gonna hear about it. But alhamdulillah, she got it right, guys. The only time that we can have a dog in our home is if that dog is considered a service dog. Have y'all heard that term before? Technically, it's called a Sabrina, tell them about the service dogs. Go ahead. I forgot Sabrina in here. Tell them about the service dogs.
Service dogs are dogs that they are not to be pets, but to be used for a specific purpose. Like the sister said, if you need a seeing eye dog, or if you can keep you can have a dog if it's a hunting, if it's for hunting, but not as a pet. Not as a pet.
Y'all see how Sabrina answers? She has that fantastical mind like me. She's also a writer, so she knows how to answer questions. She need to do it more often. She's on the ball.
But I can't have my hunting dog in my house.
I was getting ready to ask that. Somebody else asked about it. What about a hunting dog? I got a guard dog, a hunting dog. Can I have him in my house? Talk about it, Fresno.
The guard dog is for the yard. The only dogs for the house is the, what you call it, the helping dog. The
service, exactly. A guard dog. A guard dog is not a pet. A guard dog is not a pet. These are, if I'm going to tell you, any dog trainer will tell you, if you pet a guard dog, he will never be a guard dog anymore. They are outside the home, not in the home. You take them in your home and make them your play, your boy toy. I'm sorry. He's just a boy toy. Little puppy. I can throw a piece of ground beef at. He'll eat the hamburger and I'll come in and kill you. Just like what happened with those college students. Y'all remember what happened with that case in Iowa? That dude is still, he ain't been on trial yet. He killed those 4, which I still don't understand how those roommates, the roommates were right there, didn't even know, didn't hear nothing. The one claimed she saw it, but went back to her room. That's shady. But the 2 girls that were found dead, the 2 best friends that grew up together, they were found dead in the same bed together. And when they looked like they tried to fight them off, their dog was standing there barking. They had a pet dog. That dog wasn't no guard dog. He sat there and let the man come in there and kill. He ain't attacked. That's why a guard dog, you don't keep them in a house. They're outside guarding. If he had been outside, then that man would never have gotten in. Plus, he would have alerted the whole neighborhood that there was a prowler lurking about. Yeah, so we don't keep our guard dogs in the house. They're outside. The only type of dog that can be in the house is a service dog. And what's an example of a service dog? You're blind. And service dogs are not pets. I remember when I was the editor of the Cleveland State Vindicator. That's the newspaper in my college days. I was the editor. I was a good one too. Oh yeah. We won the Columbia School of Journalism Awards. We kept them awards for the whole 6 years I was in college. Best college newspaper. I remember we had one writer. One of my journalist writers was blind. And I was amazed at how she would use that dictator thing that voice thing to do her stories, to type her stories and stuff for her. And she had a big dog. She would walk with, she had a white cane and her dog. She brought that dog to school with her every day. He went to every class and he would just sit next to her on the floor. He wouldn't look at nobody. He wouldn't let nobody come near him. She would always say, please don't pet the dog. Please don't pet the dog. And I asked her one day, why come nobody, I wouldn't want to pet him, but why can't they? She said, because he's a service dog. If they pet him, Sister Layla, she will no longer be my service dog anymore. Even she that didn't pet him. She said, I said, do you pet him? She said, no, he knows me. I pet him enough where he knows I'm his master. She said, but rolling around playing with him, she said, even I can't do that. He's trained. She said, my family paid a lot of money to have him trained to be my eyes. So a service dog it provides a service for you. Okay. And they're not pets. Even their masters can't pet them. Not like that. All right. Or another example, like Nicola said, what if you got a dog to alert you to health conditions? Exactly. That's a big thing nowadays too, guys. Some of my clients before I retired had those type of pets, but you can train a cat to do that too. We didn't have dogs at my place. We had cats. Some of my clients had pet cats that they weren't pets though. Those cats were trained to alert us to health conditions. If one of my clients was going into a seizure, for example, the cat would come out and make noises to alert all of us that he was getting ready to go into a seizure, because there's something about animals. The thing about animals is they can smell if you're sick, if something's wrong with you. I learned that from them. So a lot of my clients, when I worked in the developmental center, they had pet cats. Okay. And those cats were not pets, though. They were just house cats that stayed with them in their rooms, and they would alert us to whenever those clients, were going into a seizure. And also, even with myself, my cats, when I had my knee surgery, Sammy stayed around me. He wouldn't leave. Sammy was always by my side trying to lick my wound. I had to keep him away from my knee, because that's how animals are. They can sense when you're sick and they will alert you and alert others that something is wrong with you. That's why they say if you do have a cat and your cat is hanging around you for some reason, he normally doesn't do it, and he's always licking your hand, because cats only do that when something's wrong. They're not like dogs. But when they start licking you, they're trying to make you feel better. That's a sign that something is wrong with you. And it works, because my cat Sammy is like that. I can tell if I'm anemic. If my anemia, my iron is real low, Sammy just starts licking me. I can be sitting here teaching you guys, and he'll come and just start licking my feet, licking my legs. And he'll look up at me like something's wrong. So, you know, a lot of people use pets, you know, animals for that as an alert. Y'all understand it? So that's the only time you can have a dog in the house. That's it. No more dog pets. And what happens? What did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say is the penalty for having a dog as a pet in your house? Can anybody tell me? Or even out the house? What's the punishment for having a dog as a pet? The dog has to provide a service. It can be a guard dog, a fire dog, a police dog, okay, alert dog, but it cannot be a pet. Anyone who has a dog as a pet, what's the penalty? Can anyone tell us? What's the punishment, in other words, for having a dog as a pet? Come on, every Muslim should know this answer.
You lose so many blessings, karat or something.
Yes. Like you lose a kirat is a mountain, a small hill like the Mount of Uhud. You will lose at least a mountain, 2 mountains rather, 2 mountains worth of blessings every day for having that dog as a pet. So what does that mean? That means any good deeds that you are doing, it's in vain, because it's going as a payment for you having a dog as a pet. We can't have them as pets. And why is it? Who can tell us why is it that we cannot have a dog as a pet? Can anyone tell us?
So, do you have questions on
Angel.
Okay, say it again. Not you, Marar, the other sister. Go ahead, sister.
For one, angels won't come into your house or come in if there's a dog in your house. Okay,
that's one reason, but you know, that may not even be important to a lot of people. But the angels. Yeah, go ahead.
Allah told us if we have dogs as pets, we lose like a mountain of good deeds.
Okay, yes. And why else? But why else is it that we can't? Why is it not? Is because
also the angels don't come into a home that has dogs in it.
Okay. The angels of mercy do not enter a home that has dogs. But what's the real reason? The main reason why we cannot have them as a pet. You guys are mentioning the consequences. Listen to the question. These are the consequences of having a dog. That's not the question, though. The question is, why is it that I cannot? What if your child said, Mommy, why come I can't have a dog as a pet? But I can have a cat, I can have a frog, I can have a lizard, but why come I can't have a dog? What's the answer?
Because their saliva is not pure.
Okay, not so much the saliva. It's because they're dirty. Good job, Nicola. They're dirty. They're not clean. Exactly. Dogs are not clean, guys. If you were to take a dog and throw it in the ocean and let it stay there and then bring it back up, he's still gonna stink. You cannot get rid of that smell of dog. Dogs just are not clean. That's just the way Allah made them. They're just not clean. And it's not so much their saliva. I want you to understand it's not the saliva. Because, answer this question. If a dog licks my hand, is my wudu broken? If a dog licks you, is your wudu broken?
No.
No. So that's not the reason why. The reason why is just that they stink. They stink. They stink. And they're just not clean. Does everybody understand that? So it really does. It's not so much the saliva. Because if that was the case, if a dog touched me, my wudu would be broken. A dog does not break your wudu. If a dog licks you, it don't break your wudu. You know, so it's not the saliva. All that other stuff ain't got nothing to do with it. It's just that they are not clean. They stink. For those of you who have dogs, you know you can't get rid of that smell. I don't care how much money you pay to shampoo your little Tiffy. Tiffy still stink. They're not like cats. Okay? They're not like cows, horses. They're not like goats that can be cleaned and that smell is gone. They're not like sheep. There is nothing you can do to get rid of that nasty smell. And y'all know it. You can tell who has a dog when you go to their house. It stinks. Their house smells like hell. I know. Been to some. And y'all know, Layla's like a wolf. My nose is like a wolf. I'm wolf lady. I can smell. All right. So that's what we talked about the dogs. Let me see. The only time we can have a dog is if it serves a purpose, such as hunting or a sightseeing or whatever. What about this? We also spoke about how not only does Islam forbid us from having dogs as pets, does that mean that we go around killing them? What about that?
No.
No.
I want y'all to remember that. Because there's some people that think that, oh, because it's haram for us to have a dog as a pet, they're bad creatures. So we're going to kill, crush, destroy. Nope. Dogs have communities. They live within communities just like us. And we talked about that verse of the Quran and its meaning before in a previous class. You know, every animal, every creation has its own community that it lives within. And there's fiqh regulations regarding each one of those creations. On the day of judgment, what's going to happen to the animals? Who can remember? What happens to the animals on the day of judgment? What happens to the birds, the animals, the fish, the animals in the sea? What happens to them on the day of judgment? Who can remember? Because this explains what is meant by the communities and how they have fiqh regulations within those communities. What happens to the animals on the day of judgment? Who can remember? This is from a previous class. Y'all should know this stuff.
Allah will settle their scores between each other and do what he needs to do with them.
Okay, what does that mean? I don't know what settle the scores mean. I never heard that before in my life.
Okay, that means if just like how animals have their own community, they have their own laws there, and if another animal transgresses that law, it cries out to Allah. So on the day of judgment, Allah will Allah will settle. Not settle their scores, but Allah will judge between them. And
will Allah judge between them, or will they settle the scores amongst themselves? Who can answer that? Will Allah judge between them?
Or no, Allah will not judge between them.
Why come he won't? To explain why. I'm glad she brought that up. Why is it that Allah will judge between us? He's judging between mankind and jinn. But Allah is not judging between no animals and fish and no birds. Why? Who can tell us why?
Because us human, we have free will. They don't.
Exactly. We're held accountable. They're not. That's why I tell y'all, be careful, Norto. When you say Allah will judge between them, you're saying that they are held accountable for their actions. They're not. They live off of whatever instincts that Allah put in them. But even though Allah did not give them free will, he gave them instinct, natural instinct. And also they have regulations and rules that they have to abide by in their communities. And what will happen on the day of judgment is Allah will have the animals raised up out the grave, the cockroaches, the animals, the fish in the sea, everything will come back. And then they will settle the scores, whatever violations that or injustice that they did to one another, they will settle it between them and they disappear. For example, my cats, whatever Sammy and Karen were fighting about, maybe I gave Sammy a piece of bread. I didn't give it to Karen because he can't eat it, but he went and took Sammy's bread from him, and Sammy needs bread for his kidney. This was an injustice against Sammy. So on the day of judgment, Sammy and Karen will be raised up, and they will, settle the score. Sammy will say to him, and whatever they talk, you took my piece of bread that day on January 12th, 2050. You took that bread that Layla gave me. Yeah, I know I did. I shouldn't have. I was being bad. I'm sorry. And then they disappear. That's it. Okay, so be careful how we word things. The animals are not held accountable, but they will make up whatever injustices they did against each other, because Allah hates injustice, and all of Allah's creation live within their own communities with their own rules and regulations to abide by. They won't be held accountable, but they will settle whatever injustices they did against each other. Everybody remember that. Okay, so that's what we talked about yesterday with the dogs. And I hope that all of the kids here understand that under no circumstances can you have a dog as a pet. Even if that dog was for your eyes. When they train him to be your guide, they will tell you, you cannot make a pet out of him. Otherwise, he won't be no good for you. All right. Okay, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen for tonight's lecture. Tonight, what I'm going to speak about is, here it is. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Oh, can y'all see it? Wait a minute. Tonight, we're going to speak about work and earning your living. We're going to cover now. We talked about food, clothing, dogs, jewelry, all of that. And again, you sisters know that there's no zakat on jewelry. The jewelry that you sisters wear, there's no zakat on it. I've given y'all all that, the authentic dalil. And I've given you what Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, Aisha, and all the companions said about it. And that's the end of that. No zakat on jewelry that you wear. If you don't wear it, then you do have to pay zakat on it. But anyway, let's get to this. Today, we're going to speak about and begin lecturing on work and earning your living. And we're going to speak about agriculture today. But first, let's start it off. I want every brother listening to me to pay attention. Remember, guys, Allah created men to be the provider and maintainer over the family, not women. It is not the woman's job, a woman's duty to go out and work and provide and maintain the family. That's your responsibility. And technically, guys, any single women under the laws of Islam, any women in your family who are unmarried, that means your sisters, your nieces, your grandmother, your aunts, any women in your family that are not married, you, the men in the family, are supposed to provide and maintain her. But of course, they're not doing that here in America. You are supposed to pay her rent, buy her food, clothing, and all of that. All the men in the family are supposed to pitch in every month and do that. But they're not doing it. And it's amazing how I don't hear no men talking about them for not doing it. But they still telling you women to bow down. They still telling you women to bow down to something other than Allah. I can't understand that for the life of me. Why do we hear over and over, bow down? First of all, you don't bow down to anyone but Allah. Period. Dot. And the prophet didn't tell no woman to bow down to no man. Astaghfirullah. He'd be angry at that stuff. And he didn't tell you to lick nobody's pus either. Khadijah wasn't no pus licker. None of the wives were. They were out there making injury to create pus in the way of Allah. They weren't licking it. But we hear these men still make these ridiculous comments today. But what they need to talk about is how it's the man's responsibility to go out and get a job and take care of his wives and the women in his family. And Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, it is he who has made the earth submissive to you. So travel its roads and eat of what Allah provides you. You brothers are supposed to be the one to go out and hustle and make the money to take care of the women in your family so they don't have to work, so they can be at home raising their children, teaching their children good morals and good character. Okay? So I want you guys to understand that this is the fundamental attitude of Islam towards men. That men are supposed to be the providers, the maintainers, and the protectors over women. And Allah created the earth to benefit man. So it is the duty of the man, to profit from this favor that Allah has given him and seek Allah's blessings. Travel the earth if he has to earn the money to provide and maintain the family so that the women can stay at home trying to teach the children good ethics and how to be strong believers. All right. So working, I want every Muslim man, not woman, just like all those hadiths. Let me just talk about this because I got some bad women too. Let's talk about it. I got a lot of bad women in here that want to be men. Oh yeah. It's that imama crap that's going on. That's what happens when y'all vote in these elections. Okay? You women want to be a man. You want to travel to USA. You want to travel to work, be a part of the Peace Corps. You want to get out there and get your hustle on. You even want to go out in the street and do dawah like you some dude. What you doing? You going to grow a beard too? You better get you some waxing done and get them facial hairs off of you and take them dreadlocks out your hair and go sit down and learn how to be a woman, a real woman. Hello. You sisters need to understand any hadiths that speak about the virtues of praying in congregation. That refers to the men. Remember, I taught y'all that. I've proven that. Those hadiths are not telling you women to go to the mosque. You women need to stay home. Stay at home. Turn on your internet and come in here and learn from Sister Layla, because ain't nobody going to keep it real like me anyway. Come on. And what I teach, the masjid don't teach anyway. And when it comes to working, just like the hadiths addressing praying at the mosque applies to men and not women, all these hadiths that speak about the virtues of working, earning your living is for the men too. Okay, now I know we need nurses, we need doctors. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. And by the way, nursing is an excellent field for a Muslim woman. My daughter's a nurse. That bad granddaughter of mine, she about to be a nurse. My cousins are nurses. All the women in my family, they all nurses, alhamdulillah, and they all make good money. They independent, self-sufficient, except for this one here. She will be though, inshallah. Okay? That's a good field for you Muslim women, because also being a nurse, you can make your own hours, basically. You can make your own hours to work. Plus, there's so many different types of nurses. And it's a good sadaqa jariyah for you after you die. So I'm not talking, I know we need some women. The prophet's wives were nurses. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But we got women that just want to be out the house. Let me tell you something. They got husbands who can provide and maintain them. There's no need for you to work. But you just want to be like the American. I'm westernized. I'm a westernized Muslim. I just want to go out and punch a time clock like the men do. You know, I want to be out the house. I don't like to stay at home. Let me tell you something. Any woman, and I want all you women to listen to me because I'm keeping it real. Any woman that says it's not in her nature to be a stay-at-home person is a liar. If it's not in your nature, then something wrong with you. Then that means something's wrong with your metabolism, because Allah tells us that He created women to stay home. This is our element. This is our comfort. He didn't create us to go out in a hustle bustle of life. You know, he didn't, that's not what any decent woman wants. I just retired from working. I had to work because unfortunately, living in America, the Muslim men don't do what they're supposed to do. I got brothers. They don't take care of me. They don't give me a dime. So I had no choice but to go out and provide for myself. Otherwise, I'd have been in the street living in a box. Okay? But I hated every moment of it. I mean, I liked my job. You know, I worked with all women. You know, I'm going to keep it real, even out in the dunya. I didn't have no male coworkers. My coworkers were all women, you know, and I worked providing health care. I worked in the healthcare field, helping those people who were less fortunate than you and me because they didn't have the common sense. But I hated having to get up and go to work and punch that time clock every day. I used to say, I can't wait till I retire. Well, I can just sleep and do what I want to do. I put all my time in the dawah. And that's what I'm doing. Y'all see, I'm living a dream. I'm on here 4 times a day teaching. Okay. It's not the nature of a woman to go out and deal with the hustles of life. That's what men are for. It goes against our nature to do that. So whenever you hear these hadiths I'm getting ready to speak about, these verses of the Quran, they're applying to men, not you women. This is the man's element, not the woman's. So Allah lets it be known that it's an obligation for men to go out and work. In fact, it is forbidden. I repeat, it is forbidden. I repeat again, it is forbidden in Islam for a Muslim to avoid working for a living on the pretext of devoting his life to worship. This is haram. One of the biggest sacrileges that I saw when I made Hajj. Y'all have heard about my Hajj experience. It wasn't pleasant at all from beginning to end. One of the things that I didn't like was when we arrived in Mecca, there were a lot of young, healthy men that jumped on our bus begging. I mean, begging, please, pretty please give me money. I'm like, give you money for what? I'm going to school here. I'm at the University of Medina going to school, but I got a wife and 10 children at home and I need some help. I said, and you need to take your butt home. You know what I told them? They almost threw me off the bus. Y'all know it. Can't control it. Like Aisha. It's a narcissistic characteristic. I can't control my tongue. So when they come to me, I said, excuse me, how many wives you got? Some of them had 2 and 3 wives. These were young men, like 21, 22. I'm like, how old are you? And you got how many wives and kids? 2 wives and 10 children. I said, it seems to me that you need to be hopping your behind on your happy behind on an airplane going back to America to take care of them 2 wives and 10 kids, brother, than sitting up here on this bus begging us old women and old men to give you money to take care of your family so you can stay here in school. You know, school ain't the priority. You's a married man now. Your priority is your wife and children. And there's enough people back home in America that know the religion, that can teach. And I told them I'm one of them. So you ain't getting nothing from me. I didn't give them a dime. But all them other women on that bus and men were throwing out all their little money to these young, healthy, I'm talking young, healthy men in their 20s who had some of them 2 wives and 10 children back home in America, from Philadelphia. I'm going to put it out there. New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York. I'm like, brother, you better go on home, take care of your wives and kids. SubhanAllah. Begging. This is something forbidden in Islam, guys, unless there is no choice but to do so. Islam forbids us to avoid working for a living because you want to devote your life to worship, or you want to devote your life to the dawah. You want to devote your life to learning the religion, or you're going to do like Brother Aki say, I'm just going to put my trust in Allah. I ain't going to go out and get a job. I'm just going, whatever's going to be is going to be. This ain't no John Lennon. That's the problem. You brothers trying to be like John Lennon. Look where he's at now. He got popped. You try to be like John Lennon, you get popped. You brothers need to go out and take care of your families. Working is an obligation. Just like praying is an obligation for you brothers, working is too. You cannot say that you're not going to work. Job, you're going to devote your life to the dawah, to worship, to learning the religion. Get out of here. Go home and take care of all them babies you made. Get your wives out the projects. I told a couple of the brothers that. I said, get your wives out the projects. Get them children out of the ghetto so those children don't grow up being rappers and drug dealers. Go home to America. Later for this Medina stuff. You can learn online. I told them that. Learn online. Okay, I thought it was a sacrilege when I saw that. And then when you go to make Hajj, I don't know now if things have changed, but when I went, that's all you saw. They were begging, and I was just like, you know me, the buffalo stance. I'm like, this is a young boy, 21. You better take his little punk butt home. I got 2 wives, sister, and what's up with this fake accent? I'm gonna tell you, they were doing a fake accent too. American. I said, where you from? Philadelphia. What you doing with this fake accent? I'm telling you guys, it was bad. This one brother, I'll never forget, it's my sister. You know, I could leave, you know, I got to take care of the children. I said, well, where you from, brother? I'm thinking he's going to say Africa. He said, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I said, you better take your butt home, dude. I said, get your wife and kids out the projects. That's what I told him. Stop living off your wife's welfare check. I said, how old is she? 19? You got a 19-year-old girl living in the hood with 5 babies? And you over here in Medina begging, using a fake accent? What was that? I don't know what that fake accent, but most of those brothers had a fake accent too. And I never understood why they did that. You know, be careful of that. Working is an obligation. It is also haram for a man to depend on charity. This is what I told the brothers. It is not permissible to depend on charity when you are fit and able to earn a sufficient income for yourself and your family. These brothers were in their 20s, young men from out of Philadelphia, from out of New Jersey, from out of Boston, from out of New York. Couple of them from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm like, get your butts home. Remember, guys, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said charity is lawful. neither for the rich nor for those who are able-bodied. I mean, yeah, y'all see that? If a person is rich, they can't go around begging for charity. And if a person is fit and in shape, you're young, you're healthy, there's nothing wrong with you. And that's what I told these brothers. I said, you brothers are young. You brothers are healthy. You brothers you need to go home later for this Medina stuff. Later. You in here in Medina, you're going to lose your children. I was concerned about the kids in the hood. Subhanallah. Okay. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it haram for the Muslim to beg from others when they went without a dire need, because he said this is a way of losing your honor, losing your dignity. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever begs without need is like a person holding a burning coal. In other words, you want to be a scammer. And we see it a lot here at some of the masajids. There's a lot of Muslims I know that say that they go to the mosque, and there's Muslims that come every Friday dressed up like they poor. They sit outside the steps of the mosque. Young men, young women. They even borrow their brothers and sisters and use them as pretended they're their children. And they beg for money. They just earn their living begging when they're not really in need. And you also see this on Hajj. There's a lot of professional scammers. They will dress up, pretend like they ain't got no arm, pretend like they lost their head, and they come in the Haji tents, Haji, begging for money. I didn't give them a dime. Y'all know me. I didn't give no charity to nobody. I told them charity begins at home. And I need my money. I'm a high maintenance girl. I ain't got nobody taking care of me. Even then, I didn't have nobody paying my rent then. Never did. To pay it myself. The Hajj was free, but that was it, because that was a dowry. Everything else I paid for. So no charity here. Okay, so we have to be careful of this, guys. There's a lot of people out there that are scammers. They will pretend to be in need when they're really not. And all they want is to beg so they don't have to go out and get a job. This is haram in Islam. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, anyone who begs from the people just to increase his money will have his face scratched on the day of judgment and will eat burning stones from hell. So let him reduce this punishment, or let him increase it as he pleases. So in other words, you ain't fooling nobody but yourself. You ain't fooling Allah. Okay? So again, guys, this what I told you guys. What was the 8th century? These were narcissistic times. The entire earth was one big narcissistic era. Okay? People did not want to work. People had no empathy. People had no manners. They had no good moralities. It was all about a dog eat dog world. Take what you want, not what you need. Use people, abuse people. And y'all can see that Islam came and brought balance to the people by teaching them manners. So the Prophet had to teach the Arabs and teach the people, don't go around begging. Don't go around depending on the charity of other people. Be a man. Go out and take care of your family. Go out and get a job rather than begging from others or stealing from others, because there was a lot of highway thievery too going on. Okay? So the Prophet tried to train the Muslims to protect their dignity, to protect their honor, and to rely upon them, Allah first and foremost, and then rely upon yourself. Remember, that's a good narcissistic trait. We talked the other day about the good narcissism. The good narcissism consists of having self, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, relying on yourself. This is good narcissism. Islam balanced that all out. So the prophet was advocating to the people, you know, stop taking from others, stop pretending, you know, man up, accept your responsibilities and man up. Okay. Also, the only time begging is permissible is if you have no choice, and also under the following circumstances. Say, for example, you're in debt. Your debt is so bad that you have no choice but to ask for financial help from the government or from other individuals. There is nothing wrong with that. The welfare system. There is nothing wrong with the welfare system. The Prophet Muhammad invented it. You know, some of us, like us women, you know, we don't have to work. Working is a hardship. I don't care if a woman is healthy. If it's going to take away from her children, it's going to open her up to sin. She needs to stay home. There's nothing wrong with her going to the government applying for financial help. This is what women should do if they don't have men to take care of them. But make sure you don't live in no projects. You make sure you get some subsidized housing in a good suburb, in a good environment, so your children are not raised around drugs and sex and crap. Okay? So it's permissible to seek financial assistance from the government or from other people. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Again, begging is like scratching the flesh off your face. So if you want to save your face, avoid that. Unless you're going to ask from a ruler, or in the case of dire need. This hadith is authentic. So that's the dalil that I can go and seek financial help from a person, you know, that the government. Also, we have the hadith from Sahih Muslim that one of the companions said, I agreed to pay another companion an amount of money just to make peace between them. And I went to the Prophet asking his help, and so I could do this. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, wait until the charity is given to us, and I will give you from that. Now, this man didn't have the money, but he wanted to settle the dispute between two Muslim brothers to make them not end up fighting. So he said, I'll pay the money for you. But even though he didn't have it, he asked the Prophet to pay it. And the Prophet said, okay, wait till the charity comes in, and then I'll give you the money. You know, what you did was a good thing, settling the dispute of two people. Okay? So there are 3 instances, and I want y'all to take notes. This is going to be on the quiz tomorrow. Based on these hadiths, there are 3 instances in which begging is not, that begging is permissible. Number 1, for a person who takes it upon himself to pay 2 arguing people to make peace between them. In this case, such a person can ask for help to do that. The second instance in which asking for money is permissible is if you are suffering a hardship or a calamity. Say, for example, a tornado came and you lost your house. Or say, for example, you got in a car accident and tore up your car. If you suffer a calamity and lose your property, in this case, then you can ask, you know, for help. You can go to the mosque and ask for financial assistance. Beg for financial assistance because you just went through a calamity that caused you to lose your business. And then the third instance in which begging is permissible is if you have no choice because you're starving. Okay? You have no choice. There's no food. You have nothing. You can't pay your rent. No choice. Those are the only 3 instances in which Islam allows for us to beg. If it's not one of those, then you cannot do it. I want y'all to write this down. Take a screenshot. It's going to be on the quiz tomorrow. The 3 permissible instances in which begging is allowed. There they are. Okay? Also, so that's what I want y'all to know about the begging. So rather than beg, there's a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it would be better for a person to go out and chop some wood and put it on his back and go to the market and sell it than to beg people for help. This is not dignified. Remember, as Muslims, the Prophet taught us to be people of dignity, people of humility and balance. Begging is not dignified. You know, begging shows you have no humility. That's why the Prophet said the poor man, the needy man, the man in need is not the man that's going around begging you to give him money. The man who is in need is that brother that's working 2-3 jobs to take care of his family because he's afraid to ask. That's the man in need. The people in need have dignity. The people in need have humility. It's the people that lack in that are always begging for a handout. Y'all understand that? So this is why Islam commands us to work. And when it comes to working, believe it or not, we got some Muslims out there who regard certain types of jobs as being lowly. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us there is no such thing as a low-grade job. Any job is better than asking for somebody to give to you. Okay? And there's my hadith. The Prophet said it would be better for a person to take a rope and bring a bundle of wood on his back to sell so that Allah can protect his honor than to go around begging from people who may refuse you. And look at the source, Bukhari and Muslim. Okay, so there's no such thing as a bad job. I mean, a degrading job. And so, for example, a lot of Muslims look down on farmers. First of all, guys, farmers are not lazy people. I lived for the past 36 years in Southern Ohio. I lived in farm country, Dayton and Batavia. Nothing but farmers. Those are hard workers, guys. They get up and work from sunrise to sunset. You know, these are people of dignity. These are people of honor. So we should never look down on agriculture. You know, no profession, as long as the job does not propagate anything haram. So let's talk about farming today. And I want you guys to never speak badly about a farmer. Allah tells us in the Quran that farming is one of his blessings that he's given to us. He mentions the principles required, you know, to work in agriculture. He tells us that he spread out the earth and made it suitable and fertile for agriculture. This is a blessing. Listen to what he says in the interpretation, the meaning. Allah has spread out the earth for you so that you may make your way through its spacious roads. He has spread out the earth for his creatures in its fruit and date palms with spades and corn and scented herbs. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? He has also provided water in abundance. He sends it down as rain and makes it flow in streams to revive the earth after it is dead. And it is he who sends down water from the sky. And with it, we then bring forth vegetation of all kinds. And for some, we produce green crops, out of which we produce grain heaped up at the harvest. Here you can see, guys, Allah is mentioning in all these verses of the Quran how agriculture, working in agriculture, this is a blessing. This is a blessing. So we should never, ever, ever look down on a farmer, because this is a blessing from Allah. Allah encourages us to farm. Allah encourages us to engage in agriculture activity. Okay? And by doing that, it brings about a lot of reward. For example, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever a Muslim plants a tree or cultivates a crop, and if a bird or a human being or even a jinn eats from it, this will be written as charity for him. Do you guys see why we never look down on a farmer? Whatever they plant and people or animals benefit from, this is a charity that's ongoing for him even after death. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a Muslim plants a plant, anything eaten or even stolen from it will be accounted as charity for him until the day of judgment. That means even in your grave. So these are the rewards of working in agriculture, of planting a tree, planting a flower, planting anything into the earth. Okay? So never look down on farming, guys, because Allah's generosity will continue to add to the reward of that person even after his death. Okay? Just as when we're living, it adds for 6 things: the charity, the knowledge. Now, this is a hadith I put here. I wrote it wrong because you can see I was sleeping. I was falling asleep yesterday when I did this. One of the students here on the website, I think I forgot who it was. One of you asked me, what's the hadith in which the Prophet spoke about ongoing charity? He said there are certain things if we do that we will continue to receive the reward of even when we're in our grave. But this is the hadith. I just wrote it wrong because I was half asleep, but y'all get the essence. I want y'all to screenshot it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said these things will continue to bring reward to you even after death. And hold on, what did I do? Go back. Hold on. This is my PowerPoint. Here they are. Write them down. The knowledge that was used. Whatever knowledge, whatever you learn at this website and you pass it on to other Muslims, whenever they put it to practice, even after you're dead, you taught somebody how to pray. You taught somebody how to read the Quran. You taught somebody how to say shukran, la shukran. You taught somebody how to say subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Whatever knowledge you've given them about this religion, it will be ongoing charity for you. Also, whatever children that you raise, this is why it's important for you women to be at home. Because if you raise your children to be strong, practicing Muslims when they grow up, you will get the reward of everything they do. And not only that, but their supplication. You get rewarded for the supplications they make for you. Okay? And also any plants that we plant that the earth benefit from. This will be ongoing charity for you after death. And also, if you live in a Muslim country like Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, and you die protecting the borders of the country from anybody breaking in, you die a martyr. This is ongoing charity. So these are the categories of ongoing charity. Take a screenshot. That's why I devote my life to teaching Islam. Whatever knowledge I pass on to you guys, this will be ongoing charity for me. This is why Sheikh Atlee wrote those books. Every time anybody reads his book and learns something and puts it to use, this will be charity for him when he's dead. This is why people like Sheikh Atlee believe in having large families. Because any children, children come a dime a dozen. You don't know which one is going to hold on to the rope of Islam and which ones isn't. But for those who do hold on and remain righteous, the supplication they make for you. Okay, this is why we believe in large families. All right. We have a hadith which shows how people were ignorant back in the days of the prophet, just like they are today. People want to snub their nose and look down on farmers. We have this hadith where as a man passed by Abu Darda, and what Abu Darda was doing was he was planting a walnut tree. So the man looked at Abu Darda and said, "Hey, old man, why are you planting that tree? You old." Because this is when Abu Darda was really old. He said, "You're old and you're about to die. You ain't going to even live to see that tree. So why are you planting it? You won't be able to eat from it." Abu Darda said, "No, I may not eat from it, but other people will eat of its fruit. And guess who will get the reward when they do? I will." Okay. So here you can see Abu Darda, when he felt that his time was coming close to die, he went around planting walnut trees because he knew that even though he wouldn't live to see those trees grow, anybody that benefited from those trees would be an ongoing charity for him after death. Remember, we have a hadith whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if anyone plants a tree and protects it and looks after it until it bears fruit, Allah will count it as charity for him and anything for which his fruits are used. So this is why Abu Darda did that. Now, the only type of crops that are haram for us to plant are plants like hashish. Let me talk about that. Where the brother at? Let me look on YouTube. Is he in here still? One of the brothers here, I can't find my YouTuber. Okay, one of the brothers here in YouTube asked me a question. He plants and sells marijuana. This brother is not a dope dealer. He does it for pharmaceutical. He's one of those pharmaceutical people. He sent me an email asking me, is it a sin for him to do that? Because this is what he's been doing before he became Muslim. He's Muslim now. He said he's pretty well off because he grows marijuana to be made into that medical stuff. This is haram. This is haram. This is haram, guys. We cannot do that. We cannot sell marijuana or hashish or anything else like that. Just like we cannot take grapes and grow grapes for people to buy and use to make alcohol with. We can't do that. Just like we can't raise pigs, Brother Buck. Brother Buck is a farmer. He can raise any animal he wants to, but no pigs. He can't say that he's raising pigs to sell to the Christians. This is haram. Because if it's something haram for us to eat, that means we cannot drink it. We cannot sell it. We cannot give it away. We cannot be a witness to it or any of that. So those are the haram types of farming. You know, you're planting vegetables or fruit with the purpose of making someone buying it from you to make alcohol. That's haram. Or you're growing cannabis, you know, and all this for medical purposes. This is haram. Okay, so I'm going to stop